Hello. We're going to be doing a little review over the properties of exponents that we learned yesterday, and let's just go ahead and get started. You will see each type: multiplication property, division property, power property of exponents. One thing to keep in mind is the rules, and I'll go over them as we hit each problem. But let's make sure that we are remembering that we do need to upload the notes. So make sure that you are taking care of that as we go. I'm gonna get my ugly mug off of here. And here is your first set. These are all multiplication problems. So remember, um, if you multiply same bases, you need to add the exponents. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and complete these 4 problems. Okay, number 1 here. Multiplication. Now the 2 numbers we have here, 2 times 4. Well, 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, remember, multiplication is multiplication. The u's, we have u to the third, and we have u to the fourth. Okay, so it means we are adding those exponents. So 3 plus 4 is 7. For the v's in multiplication, we have v to the fourth, and we have v to the first. So it'd be 4 plus 1, and that is 5. No zero or negative exponents, so I'm done. Number 2, numbers first. So we have 1. Whoa, Nelly. 3 and a 4. So really have 1 times 3 times 4. You don't really have to put the 1 there. Well, 3 times 4 is 12. The u's, these are all multiplied, so we're going to add exponents. So u to the third, u to the third, and u to the third. 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9, so that's u to the ninth. My v's, I have v to the third, v squared, and v to the fourth. And 3 plus 2 plus 4 is also 9. No zero or negative exponents, so that is my answer. Number 3, numbers first. So we have 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. The x's, we have -1, and we have x to the first. Well, remember, -1 plus 1 is 0, so that's going to be x to the 0 power. And x to the 0 power is going to get rid of, because that's 1. The y's, y to the second, and y to the third. And that's going to be y to the fifth. So let me clean that up. I would have 6, y to the fifth. Very last one, we have only one number there. It's a 3. So we have our 3. We only have that one y there, so y to the first. And we have our x's. We have -3 plus -3. -3 plus -3 is -6. And then I do have this negative exponent. That means the x to the 6 has to go on the bottom. So 3y stays in the numerator. X to the 6 goes in the denominator. Okay. All right. Division. Reminder for division. When we are dividing same bases, we're going to subtract our exponents. Go ahead and pause the video and complete these 4 problems. Okay. For the x's are being divided. We have 2 minus 3. Well, 2 minus 3 is -1. For the y's, 4 minus 4. Well, 4 minus 4 is 0. Remember, y to the 0 is 1, so I don't need that. But this x has to move to the bottom. Now, there's a little trick here. Okay, since my x to the first goes on the bottom, I have to hold the top with some number. Well, that number would be a 1, so it'd be 1 over x. Number 2, you always start with the numbers first, so 4 over 2, that's my fraction. Well, 4 divided by 2 is 2, so there's that. My x's, oops, excuse me. my x's, we have x to the third. This division, so we're subtracting x to the first. 3 minus 1 is 2. And for our y's, y squared minus y to the fourth, or divided by y to the fourth. So it'd be 2 minus 4 is negative 2. Y has a negative exponent, so I do need to fix that. That means that y squared goes on the bottom. Number 3, I start off with the fraction 2/3. Well, 2/3 cannot be simplified, so I still have 2/3. The x's are divided, so I'm going to subtract their exponents. So I have x to the third and x to the negative 2. Well, minus a negative turns that to plus, so I have x to the fifth. For the y's, we have y squared and y squared. So I have 2 minus 2 is 0. Remember, we have a 0 exponent. That's gone. We don't need it. So we can clean this up. I would have 2x to the fifth over 3. Last but not least, number 4. Now, this one, the fraction in the front is sometimes hard to see, okay, because they don't put the number here, but that is 1 over 2. And I cannot simplify 1 over 2. Okay, so that's it there. The x's are divided. I have to subtract those exponents. So 4 minus 4, that is 0. Well, x is 0 is 1, so that's gone. The y's, y squared, and then we have, y squared and y to the negative 3. So 2 minus negative 3 minus a negative is plus. That's going to be y to the fifth. And let's just clean this up. I would have y to the fifth over 2. It's okay to have the 1 on top. Okay. All right, our last set here is the power property. Remember, with the power property, when you raise a power to a power, you would multiply the exponents. Go ahead and pause the video and complete these 4 problems. Okay, for number 1, okay, what we have to remember is that these have an exponent of 1 on them. So power property for the 2, we have 1 times 3 is 3. For the x, 1 times 3 is 3. For the y, 4 times 3 is 12. Now there's no negative exponents, but I can take care of that. 2 to the third power, 2 times 2 times 2, that is 8. So I'd have 8, x to the third, y to the fourth. No 0 or negative exponents to deal with. Number 2, remember this is 4 to the first. So with the power property, 3 times 1 gives me 4 to the third. For the a, 3 times 4 gives me 12. For the b, 3 times 4 gives me 12. Well, 4 to the third power, 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. So that's 64, a to the 12th, b to the 12th. For number 3, remember this is 4 to the first, and we have the power property. So for the 4, 2 times 1 is 2. For the x, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. And for the y, 2 times 2 is 4. Well, I have a negative exponent there, so this x is going to move to the bottom. It's going to be x squared on the bottom. And I need to take care of 4 squared. 4 squared is 4 times 4, so it'd be 16 y to the fourth. On the bottom, I would have x to the second power. Last but not least, number 4. Okay, this 2, remember, has an exponent of 1, and this is the power property. So for the 2, negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. For the x, negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. And for the y, negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4. Well, I have 2 things with negative exponents. So the 2 and the x are going to the bottom. Y to the fourth stays where it's at. 2 to the first, which is just 2. Then x squared. Okay. All right. What you need to do is we have a short worksheet that you're going to complete. So go ahead and complete the short worksheet. Make sure you are catching up on any missing work, including the assignment from yesterday that dealt with this material. And y'all,